Been putting off that redoing the deck project for a few years now. Today I decided to start. I just haven't been happy with the way it looks, so let's go see what's up. I'm going to try and reuse all the materials. Living under the deck, so that's kind of pushed me into the situation. I've already started removing a handrail. What I'm planning to do is to make separate panels that lay in, so I can easily get up underneath the deck and do any kind of work I need to do. I'm thinking about using some landscaping felt under the deck to prevent this problem with the bees or mosquitoes or anything like that. One of the problems I had with this old deck rail is keeping the deck clean, because they went all the way down like that. There was no space underneath to sweep the leaves off in the fall or push the snow off in the winter. So now I got about 3 rows of deck pulled up. The bees are starting to get nervous. Using one of the 2x4s I took off earlier to help pry these boards up. Tried the old crowbar. They're the spiral nails, so they don't come out too easy. But I don't know, it must be about a 6-foot 2x4 I'm using. Set the crowbar, get up underneath, and don't get too close that you hit the next board because you'll blow it up. But as pulling the boards up, I have to go back and pull the nails out. Those spiral nails, they kind of rusted into place. As you can see here, the nails are being left behind. So I got to pull those out with a crowbar. Alright, so I'm going to get ready to take down my guardrail posts. And I had to go to Home Depot and buy a very expensive blade down there. They're really expensive. The store, I mean. Here on taking a post down and maybe starting constructing my panels, and work my way back and see where I wind up with. Okay, I started to work on my panel sections, and these are 32 inches long, and I'm making some that are 32 by 26, and end up with a panel like this. I'm just splitting some old decking I had laying around to make a frame, and I'm attaching the old deck to it. I don't know if you can see that. These are 32 by 32 panel sections. And of course, you know, I've got the longer piece here. That's 32, and I think this shorter piece is 26 and a half. It's about 45 and a quarter inches corner to corner. What, 8 panels. The supports were not straight, curved off here at the end, so I overhang about 1.5 inches with the original decking, and I can dress that up later on. It's straight, 163 whatever from the house, and I've just laid these panels in, but I think what I'm going to do is purchase some studs and nail them up next to these rafters, give it a little extra width so that they don't slip off. Oh yeah, this new furnace I had put in last fall, the pipes come out. I need about 4 inches, and over here I'm measuring about 3.5. Now see, it takes me, see what we're going to do about that. After I've got my parts cut already, probably takes 45 minutes to an hour to build one of these sections. So I've got all summer. Okay, just for safety purposes, I've gone along and added in a stud every other beam, and adds an extra 1.5 inches, so there's no likelihood of the panels slipping. Okay, the panel construction has been moving along nicely. I need to do one more full sheet or full panel, and then trim out the edges. I had to purchase some newer material. I've used up just about all of the old decking, and of course I've had a lot of scrap. Okay, all of the decking panels are completed, the full panels. I just need to do the trim out. What I'm doing here is I have some leftover screen. You can see that there, from a garden that I used to have. And what I've done is I've gone around the deck and put the screen, and then I have this leftover garden fabric that goes under the mulch and that kind of thing. And I'm putting that up. Framework brought it out another 8 inches to the edge of the door over here. And I used some old pieces underneath, just as my support layer underneath. And now I've got some newer material that I'm putting on top at the 45-degree angle to match the panel sections. The same thing, you can see the fabric there, and I've got some new lattice that I put down. And now I rented a floor sander. That's going pretty well. Probably take me a couple of hours altogether to do this. I'm using I think it's a 20 grit. What do we got here? Diablo, yeah, 24. 24 grit. And then the guy suggested I use a 60 grit after that. What I'm doing today is I'm pulling panels out, paint them individually. I'm sanding these corners, all the corners around the edges, using an orbital sander. I would not recommend, if you have an orbital sander with a hook and loop type thing, don't get these. They fooled me, and these are some sort of a stick-on type around the corners sanding disc. Make it look nice. And then I'm going with this. This is called Sage, or something along those lines. The color is like a light green. Supposed to be their good stuff. Almost 40 bucks a gallon. It better be good. So I had a little trouble with the orbital sander. So now I've gone to the belt sander. The orbital sander kept catching on these corners and ripping it, and yeah, the first coat went pretty well. Looks nice. Did the lattice along the front here. And I'm just pulling out the panels that are next to the house and putting that second coat of Bear Premium Weatherproof Solid Color, or is it, it's not paint, it's stain. Okay, we're back. Second coat of I had stain was put on from an old project. Put it in with some lag bolts. Left a 3-inch overhang here. Yeah, that's where the end of the board will hang for the pergola. We've got our 6x6s. I've trimmed those back to 81 inches, which should match. In the process of putting the stain on these planks. These are 2x8s, 16 foot. Well, I have to cut about 3 foot off each one, but that's the way it goes. Just rented the Home Depot truck, and for 20 bucks I did my own delivery of the planks. Now I have the uprights are all painted. The supports are in place over here. And I guess I'm ready to start putting up the post. Okay, I've installed the cross beam. All 4 pillars are installed. And now I'm putting up my first stringer across here. And it's trimmed down to a 3x3 coming out, and with a 45 angle to miss the gutter. And then it's anchored underneath. This is a hurricane type connection. And these are going to fit right over here. Those are going like this. That side, and then reverse from the opposite side like that. Okay, the hurricane clamps are installed here. 3x3 notch with a 45 angle and an anchor bolt underneath, and give it a nice strong structural feel for the cross member. Very strong. Alright, nice. Just finished up with my last 16 footer. See the hurricane clamps, and what I'm doing is I'm cutting them and painting them in place. So I got this last one, I gotta put the stain on that yet. And as I do that one, then I put a second coat on the end of the other one. And the only problem I had along the way was I over tightened one of these bolts, and of course I snapped it off up in there, and I had to put a new bolt. And luckily I had one extra bolt, and out here on the end I just squared it up. I'm going to trim that last piece off of there. Got 2 bolts in there, and that's to bring it down here, where I'm going to have to add a cross member, and I'm going to have to get some 8 footers in here. Now what I'm doing here is I'm overhanging 16 inches seem to be about the right okay, we're back at it here. We've completed the pergola across the top, eared the ends at 45 degrees. Decided to come out one extra one over here on the end. Still haven't finished up painting that. And started making the rails, and I'm reusing the posts from the original deck, and I'm using the spindles as supports to hold the lattice in place. And I'm going 34 inches here on these posts, and there'll be a cap, reusing the cap from the original deck over here on this one. And I have some new ones in the garage that I purchased for these. I have 34 inches with a 24-inch lattice. Works out perfectly. I can just use a stud to measure in between here. I'm putting the 2x2s in and screwing those into the stud frame. And then I'll come back across, let's see, just as an example. These go in, and then they'll be screwed in that direction. so that I can easily pop these out if I want to take that lattice out of there later on to paint it a different color or whatever I want to do, replace it. Anyways, it'll make it easy access. And doing the final staining, and haven't yet attached the top plate. I anchored all the handrails in with these 6-inch bolts right into the main post. See that there and over here. It's a 6-inch flag bolt. Alright, we're nearing the finishing steps here. Ended up spraying the lattice. My God, did that save a lot of time. I had a sprayer in the shed. And I tried hand painting these rails, and you know, it was taking hours to do one. And with the sprayer, it took a few minutes. I was able to cover it better, spraying from 2 different directions on each side. Brush it a little bit with a brush after. Picked up these shades cheap at Home Depot. I think they're like $18 thereabouts. They're for outdoors. They're made of vinyl. For this rail over here, I've decided the old piece was twisted too much, so I bought a new piece here that I just cut the size, sanded off with the orbital sander. There's the orbital sander. Those are cheap. Pick one of those up over at Harbor Freight, real cheap, and that's been a real nice tool. This is a piece that I had downstairs left over from some bunk beds. It's 2x5, has a 2x2 already screwed onto it. That saves me a little time. So I just dog-eared the end of that. I just got to paint those parts and put them on. I had a couple old hooks hanging in there. They're laying around the garage. I put them up here so the wife could hang up her plants, and she'll be all thrilled with that. She got a couple of mums or something she picked up for the fall. Alright, well, I would say the project's pretty well wrapped up except for a few finishing touches. I had enough leftover scrap material that I was able to make another rail for the other side of the stairway.